time travel chamber. Yes, I'm so glad you could be here with me today because I'm going to read the grand prize winning story from my 6th annual Be a Famous Writer contest. Oh, I think you're going to love it. Okay, it's from teacher Karen Close, 4th grade class at Elm Lawn Elementary School in Middletown, Wisconsin. And it's called The Magic Baseball Poster. And it's by Daniel Kim and Owen Sheehan. Oh, all right. Let's see. It's all about time travel. When will we do anything fun? Thought Tim. Tim was in 1st grade and he lived in Los Angeles, California. He also loved to play baseball as much as his best friend Jack did. Anyway, he was listening to all the boring stuff that his teacher was saying, and then something caught his attention. His teacher said, since we're learning about civil rights heroes, we're going on a field trip to Dodger Stadium, where the Los Angeles Dodgers play their baseball games. The field trip is in 3 weeks. Tim and Jack were so excited that they asked their teacher if they could go to the bathroom so they could talk about the field trip. Well, on the field trip, Tim and Jack's class split up into 3 groups. Well, luckily, Tim and Jack were in the same group, and at first they saw photos of Jackie Robinson and a replica that really looked like him. Well, no wonder we came here, Tim and Jack said together. The teacher had forgotten to mention that Jackie Robinson is why they were here. The guide then led them to a timeline of Jackie. Oh, man, said Jack. I thought he was famous because he was good at baseball. I mean, there's so many players that are African American today. I thought when Major League Baseball started, African American people were allowed to play. The last part, that was the best. Well, the next day was a Saturday, and Jack went over to Tim's house, and Tim put up his new Jackie Robinson poster by itself. It had a picture of Jackie and another player on his team, Pee Wee Reese. I just wish that I could go to 1947, said Tim. In Brooklyn, he added. Me too, Jack agreed. Suddenly, on what seemed like a very hot summer day, the wind began to blow very hard. Well, it seemed like a tornado because they got sucked into the poster, and before Tim and Jack could say, "What?" they zoomed back into 1947 Brooklyn. Of course, well, they didn't know. They looked at each other and they said, "Where are we?" Well, Tim started looking around. "Look," he said. "Oh, that's Jackie Robinson's house." Well, then Tim said excitedly, "Let's go into the house." "Calm down," said Jack. Then Tim whispered, "Hey, I got a plan." Jack did not like the plan, but he also knew that was their only chance. So they walked up to the door and they knocked on the door. A tall African-American man came up to them. "Hello," the man asked. Hi," said Tim and Jack. "Do you need anything?" the man said. Well, we're lost in the city and it's getting late, so we're going to ask someone if we could stay in a shelter." Okay," the man said. "You're welcome to come in and you guys can sleep on the couch for the night." "Okay, thanks so much," Jack and Tim said. Then they high-fived each other. "Oh, by the way, my name is Jackie Robinson. Nice to meet you." Tim and Jack looked at each other. Then Jack quickly said, "I'm Jack, he's Tim," pointing at Tim. As Tim and Jack were getting ready to go to bed, Jackie said, so just to tell you guys, I'm playing my first baseball game in the major league tomorrow." "Oh, we love baseball," Tim quickly said. "Cool," Jackie said. Then he was walking away, yawning. "Oh, Oh, he turned around and said, you guys want to come to the game tomorrow? Jack and Tim looked at each other. Jack whispered, we need to go back. But, okay, said Jack, but this is a lifetime chance. Okay. So they both shouted, we want to go. And Jackie just smiled. So the next morning, they got ready to go to the game. And when they got there, Jackie had them sit in the dugout where some of the players were getting ready. Now, the game was fun from the start. The Dodgers were facing the Milwaukee Braves. Jackie was the first baseman. He got some outs. The Brooklyn fans cheered if he got an out. And in the 7th inning, Jackie was at bat. He'd already been in the batting box 2 times, but he didn't get a hit. Yet. Jackie bunted the ball towards first base. The first baseman sped to the ball. Jackie also sped down to first base, and that forced the first baseman to make a rush through. Now, the ball was very well thrown, but Jackie got away from it, and he got in on second base. And then another runner was on third base. And then another player named Pete Reiser batted them both in. So Jackie got a run. Yay! At the end of the game, the Dodgers had won 5-3. In the locker room, everything was about Pete Reiser, not Jackie. But Jackie didn't seem to care. And then they all went back home to go to bed. Did you guys have fun? Asked Jackie when they got home. We had a great time, said Tim and Jack. Man, your parents should be looking for you, said Jackie. Jack whispered to Tim, should we tell him the truth? I don't care, but he's not going to believe us, said Tim. Okay, we have something to tell you about, said Jack, starting it off. And then they would later tell him the whole story. Jackie started laughing. When he was done laughing, he asked, well, show me. Okay, said Tim and Jack. They closed their eyes, and they thought of Tim's room. Bye, they yelled. And the last thing that Jack saw was Jackie with his mouth open until, ow, said Tim and Jack. They both hit their heads against the wall. Wow, they said when they got up on Tim's bed. Whew, so that's how it all began. They would later see Babe Ruth and Mickey Mantle and other baseball greats. But they will never forget their first one with Jackie Robinson. The end. Good story.
Oh, hello. When I was a little girl, I learned how to play the flute. I loved the sound of flutes, and compared to a piano or a tuba, they were easier to carry around. Well, one day we had a mouse in our house that my father just couldn't seem to catch. Well, he spent many hours chasing that mouse around, but it always seemed to slip away. Well, I just read the story of the Pied Piper who lured all the rats from town with the sound of his magical flute. So I said, don't worry, I'll get that mouse out of the house. I opened the front door, grabbed my flute, and played the most beautiful tune heard by man or beast. And sure enough, after a minute or two, that mouse crawled out of his hiding place to listen. And I walked toward the front door, playing my magical song. And that's when, lured by the sound of my music, 17 mice came running through the front door and scampered into the cracks and under the furniture and would not come out. And that's why, when I was a little girl, I lived in a house with 18 mice, and why I gave up the flute and started playing the tuba. Now, this story is about another instrument, a piano, that truly does amazing things. It's the winner of my 4th annual Be a Famous Writer contest in the 4 to 8 age group. It's by Grace Lane, and it's called The Magic Piano. Once upon a time, there was a magic piano that could make any sound that someone imagined. The man who owned the piano had found it when he moved into his house. The piano was in the attic when the man was putting away the things that he wasn't going to be using. The man was very happy to see the piano because he had taken lessons when he was a boy. The instant he saw the piano, he went to it and started to play A Christmas Carol, because that was the first song that he had learned to play. And as he was playing, he started to think about how good the song had sounded when he played it with other instruments. He had especially liked the trumpet that another student played. And as he thought about this, he started to hear the sound of a real trumpet playing along with the piano. He thought that was very strange, so he started to play another song. At first he just heard the piano he was playing, but when he started to think about the other instruments, he could hear them too. He realized that there was something different about the piano, and he decided to move it downstairs. As the days went by, he played song after song, and whenever he played, he would hear every instrument that he was thinking about. Oh, one very sunny, hot day in August, when he was playing the piano, he thought of a cold, hard rain. Suddenly, he could hear the sound of rain drumming on the rooftop, but when he peered out the window, well, it wasn't raining at all. It was still very sunny. And that's when he knew for sure that the piano was magic. He decided to keep the magic piano a secret so that people would not flock into his house or try to steal the piano. And when winter came, the man decided to have a big Christmas celebration. He invited a lot of people. He hurried around the house to make sure it was clean, and he made enough food for all of his guests, and he covered the piano with a great big sheet. Oh, the party was very exciting. Guests were chatting and eating the food and having a great time. One little boy who had come to the celebration noticed the big thing with a sheet over it, and he asked the man what it was. Well, the man told him it was a piano. The boy asked the man if he would play some Christmas carols. Well, the man hesitated for a minute, but then decided that he would. He thought that if he concentrated only on the music he was playing, no one would find out that the piano was magic. He started out by playing Silent Night, which of course didn't have any sounds in it. And then he played the 12 Days of Christmas, not thinking about how much trouble a magic piano would get into by playing that song. Well, at first the piano played like a normal piano would, but then, as the man played through the numbers of the song, the guests started to hear the sounds of birds. 2 turtle doves and a partridge, to be exact. When he got to 3 French hens, the guests started to look around to see if there were any stray chickens running around the room. With each new verse, the guests looked more and more confused. They could hear everything in the song like it was in the room. Well, the man kept playing, trying to pretend that nothing unusual was happening. When the song ended, all the guests started to speak at the same time. Well, the man could hear people shouting out the names of other songs for him to play. Other people were asking to try to play the piano themselves. The man simply said that he had played the piano enough for one day and covered the piano with a sheet again. The guests went back to chatting and eating. After the party was over, news of the magic piano got around town quickly. It got to some news reporters who reported it to the newspaper, which reported it to the whole state, and pretty soon they'd heard about it as far away as Washington, D.C. Soon people started to flock into the man's house, exactly as he had not wanted them to. People kept asking him to play the same songs over and over again. The man felt sad because he wanted his life to be back to normal. One day, when the biggest crowd ever was at the man's house, and the man was playing the 12 Days of Christmas for the 100th time that month, the piano suddenly screeched out, "Could everyone just give me a break? I'm tired of playing the same songs over and over again. I want my life to go back to normal." The crowd was surprised. They wondered if it was really the piano talking or the man. Slowly, the crowd left the man's house. His life went back to normal, and so did the piano. Or did it? The magic piano never played magically again, except for when the man played it by himself. The mystery of the magic piano was never solved. But sometimes, if people listened late at night, they could hear the man playing the piano, and they could hear the sounds of many instruments playing along with the music. And if they listened really, really carefully, they might hear birds singing, even in late winter. The end.